Alright, so I've been flying FPV for about 2 months now, and ever since I started, I keep hearing people talking about how good 5-inch drones are and that they're the best for freestyle and all that. I couldn't resist the idea of building my own 5-inch, it just looked like it would be so much fun. So I got online, found a build that I liked, bought all the parts, and today they finally arrived. This is literally my first time doing this, so yeah, I'm gonna be learning as we go. The frame is a TBS Source 1 V5, and the first thing I wanted to do is just really sand down the edges of it because they come quite sharp. These motors are iFlight Zing 2s, don't really know much about them. 2207 and 1855 kV, and I'm going to be running this drone with 6S batteries. So now we're screwing each of the motors onto the frame. The stack is a SpeedyBee F405 V3, and it's an all-in-one stack. It comes with its own screws, which are longer, so you just take the original ones out and pop the longer ones in. Here I'm just testing to see that it fits in there perfectly. I got this braided mesh to protect the wires. I really just also like the look of it, so I fitted that to the wires of each motor and melted the ends. I found that if I pushed the ends a bit while they were melting, then they would squeeze in tighter and give it kind of a better aesthetic all up. Here it is with the mesh protection over the wires. This stage is actually super scary. I measured each of the wires so they would wrap around the inside of the ESC. You just want to get it right and give yourself a little bit of wiggle room because it would just be super annoying to have a wire that's too short. And you can see there I've done that. I actually could have left myself a little bit more room on some of them. This is an ELRS antenna. I'm just putting it on. I actually don't have an ELRS receiver at the moment, but I'm gonna get one later. I've been using the DJI remote and it actually just drops out intermittently at times, so it's really quite unreliable. And RX will be wiped. There's the receiver all attached and soldered up. Now it's time to tin the pads on the ESC. Put heaps of flux on all of these before I did it. See, I've just started tinning the ESC. I'm planning to wrap these around over the top, so we'll see how that goes. I've used this braided protective stuff to go over the wires, which I really like the look of. It just looks super sturdy. What I'm doing here is actually pretty silly. I should have just used a bit of blue tack or some of the double-sided tape. Now we come to the actually quite scary part of soldering the wires to the ESC. This actually wasn't too hard. I had to hold it with the tweezers sometimes to just keep it in the right spot, but for the most part it worked really well and I was really happy with it. I kept the solder on around 450 degrees, which is as hot as this one could go, and it just melts the two pieces into one. If they just look like one piece, then I think that's a good solder. Here they are all soldered up, and I'm just testing to see how they're going to wrap around. We've just finished the extremely scary job of soldering the motor joints to the ESC. Here is my solder job. For the most part, I think they look okay. I'm not really happy with the shape of some of them, but for now, I think they'll do. Fluxing the pads for the XT60. This was by far the hardest thing to solder. It just requires a lot of heat. Potentially my solder isn't really hot enough for it, but you can make it work. You just have to leave the iron on it for a really long time to get it hot, and just add quite a lot of solder, and yeah, I really struggled trying to get this on well. Alright, that was the hardest thing to solder by far with these XT60 joints. It's just really hard to heat them up. That black one, it looks pretty bad. There's a bit of wire there, it's a bit dirty. We'll see. I think they're strong enough. We'll see. Time to add the capacitor on. I actually love these little things. They're so cute. I put the capacitor up the front of the drone and ran the wires underneath the ESC. I don't know why I just did that in the tutorial. It wasn't my idea. Finally, time to get the multimeter out and test. So we're just testing the XT60 joints here, and it says that if it's a short beep followed by nothing and a 1, then it's all good. If you're building your first drone and you don't have a smoke stopper, you should absolutely get one. It costs about $3 and it could save your whole ESC. This is my first time powering the drone on. And I'm not sure if you can tell from the video, but this was a huge relief. Now we're in beta flight and we're just going to test each of the motors, make sure each of them are spinning, that they're in the right order and that they're spinning in the right direction. We're doing props in on this drone. Next we have the camera. It's a Runcam Wasp with the link. It basically is designed to work with DJI. It's smaller and lighter than the O3 system. It feels actually really nice. This thing is going to carry a GoPro pretty easily, so it doesn't really matter if I can't record 4K footage off this camera. So I've popped the VTX in the back of the drone here, and I'm going to run the camera cable again under the ESC and out the front, just to keep it all neat and tidy. Here is how I've mounted everything. So we have the VTX up the back here, the Runcam Wasp link. That's running down underneath to the camera, which is just here. We have the capacitor moved up to the front. ELRS config on here, but I'm not running it at the moment. I'm gonna get a ELRS receiver another time. Yeah, wired everything down here. XT60 up the back. Got a 3D printed part for the VTX receiver. Alright, so this thing, it's finished. I cannot believe it all worked. Everything connected, the smoke stopper didn't detect anything. I cannot believe it. I'm so stoked. It's connected up to DJI goggles 2 and the remote controller. That worked fine. I just made sure I added the S-bus and ground to this and put it onto the flight controller, and it seemed to recognize it no problem. Some of the finishing touches I did were I just put this braid here, tied those down so they're all super stuck there, and wrapped this kind of soft stuff around it, but this thing feels rock solid. I can't believe it. Check it out. We have video on here, armed, inputs. Woohoo! Can't believe it all worked okay. It's just, oh my god. got any questions about anything in this build, just hit me up in the comments and I'll get back to it. Alright, so today is the day we're going to take this 5-inch drone for a spin. I have never built a drone before, never flown a 5-inch, so we're just going to go pretty easy, see how it goes. Hopefully it just flies like a normal drone and, touch wood, doesn't do anything insane or anything that is going to potentially break it. I have it in my backpack just here. Don't know if you can see that. It's a beautiful day and we're going to the park in East London. I'm pretty nervous about this, but it's the perfect day to do it. I think I've got everything kind of wired up as it should be. It's just going to be a matter of, if I've done a good enough soldering job and if it all lasts. There's not much wind, not many people around, so it should be great. All right, let's see how she goes and if she goes. All right, pretty nervous. Let's bring her up. Wow. Wow. Oh my god. The lightness, holy crap, compared to my Cine log. Oh my god. It's so light. Like it flicks, it just feels like it weighs nothing. Oh my god, it flies so nice and it's so quiet. It is so quiet. Oh, I like it. I already like it so much more than the Cine Log 35 V2. Oh my god. I've not even gone past probably 20% acceleration. It's so cruisy, this thing. That's unbelievable. Oh, I can't express the relief that this thing is flying. Touch wood right now because we're only a few seconds in. About 2 minutes in to be exact. Oh, it just feels like it's flying so nicely. Display is definitely weird. It doesn't feel like a 720 display. I think there might be something a bit up with it. It is so quiet. Doesn't seem to be wind affected whatsoever. Guys, this is a 5-inch right now. Listen how quiet it is. My Pavo Pico is louder than this. One more lap around and then I'm going to bring it in. Yeah, I'm not happy with the camera really. I can't see very well at all. Maybe I switched it to oh shit. Yeah, the transmission feels quite bad. I'm going to come up for a landing. First flight and first landing. Come on. Nice easy landing. That thing flies so well, so much better than my Cine Walk. I can't believe it. It's my first flight ever on a 5-inch. The controllability, the sensitivity, it's just it's a lot more manageable. It's easier. Oh my god. I can't even express the relief right now that it just worked, that it flew. It just seemed to fly absolutely perfectly. I just built this thing. I can't believe that. How does it work like that? That's crazy. All right, just put in another battery. We're gonna take her out again. I didn't really figure out why it was such low quality. Oh my god. So much better. Yeah, look at that quality. Oh my god, that's terrible. Definitely got something configured wrong with the quality. I think I, at this point, would just sell the Cinelog 35 V2. Cannot even compare. Then I'd get a smaller drone, a smaller whoop for inside use. This thing just flies too incredibly. So sick. A little bit confused about the display, but far out, it's so nice. I can't believe how well it flies. Just so happy. I just can't believe it. For anyone that's done kind of what I've done, buying a Cinewhoop for their first drone and learning on that, I just gotta say, that was my first time flying a 5-inch, and I feel like it's a lot easier than my quite high-powered Cinewhoop. It just feels so much more flowy, it feels so much more floaty, so responsive. Oh, it feels better in every single way, to the point where if I'm not using the Cinewhoop for anything, I would just sell it and get a small Cinewhoop for inside and just and then just fly the 5-inch, because oh my god, I cannot believe that. So after this first flight, I diagnosed what was wrong with the visual transmission, and turns out it was in limp mode the entire time. So I was basically getting the low power feed and transmission that entire first flight, which is why I was kind of tripping the whole time about how bad the split was. So what you're seeing now is how it should look, and this is the next day. Alright, this has been my first 5-inch build ever, and my first time flying a 5-inch. Hope you guys like the video. I'm going to keep doing them every week, so yeah, tune in. Catch you later.